thinking about the time that, I went to see some Wagner arias at the National Theater in Washington, and afterwards, I went and had dinner at the restaurant above, and after dinner, it was very, very late, and almost nobody was there. In a chance meeting, walking opposite directions in a hallway in the whatever the Kennedy Center or whatever it's called there, I passed Coretta Scott King and her entourage. I stopped and I talked to her for a moment, and I told her about something that happened that made it certain that her husband's life wasn't given in vain. And I told her I had, just a few years before, in 1973, and this was probably 1979, or maybe 78. But I told her that just a few years before, I was at Boys Nation, and we elected the first black president in the history of the American Legion Boys Nation program. And that would portend to me that my generation is going to elect our first black president. And she hugged me. And that was my moment. Now, to put this in the context of the times, in 1970, it was probably 76, I was the head auditor for a district of local convenience stores. National chain, but I was the district auditor. And one evening at the district office, I was sitting, working in a space near a conference room where a meeting was being conducted. And in that meeting, one of the supervisors told his district manager, maybe the second ugliest thing I ever heard, and that was that he was never going to hire a woman, or he used the N-word to supervise a store. The ugliest sound was the silence that fell after he said it. Now, there was another guy, the guy who actually had his territory and that he was the supervisor of. He had the poorest part of the city, and he had the wealthiest part of the city. And even though he didn't say anything then, what he would do is, in his store, he would take the heels of the deli meats that were about to go bad in the wealthy stores and transfer the meat that's about to go spoiled to the stores whose complaints no one would hear. So as a contrast to much of the discussion today about how so far we still have to go, it's great that the conversation has come so far.